AI, it may or may not be the bad guy in your multiplex. No spoilers here, folks, but it's here now, and there are some risks with adopting this brand new exciting technology. Brett and Joseph are here to discuss. Brett, talk to me about the security risk first. As the CEO of this operation, people aren't that excited to hand over their financial stuff to the internet for really good reasons and leaks in the past. How is this different? And kind of just structurally, let's start at the real broad brushes of why maybe some of these fears are a little overdone.
I mean, totally warranted. I mean, that information has to be protected. And we're also coming off of this wave of tech and digitization, and now the ensuing fraud and cybersecurity and all those concerns that have hit and been in the press, and we all know those kind of things. So rightly so, everybody's sort of, reeling from that or on edge from all of that, including, every boardroom in America. And so all of a sudden now comes this. And it's like, wait a second. That's even
now you're going to share everything with a chat bot, and that'll make it somehow safer. I get that people are scared. It seems like, there are elements that are a little scary.
I think the biggest thing is then how do you apply this in a way that can be safe? How do you ensure that folks can use it where it's being protected and being certain? And that was one of the biggest things we talked about from the beginning that was part of this. Hey, we're going to commission this really cool project, but we also know that we have to do it in the right way. And like I say, all the stuff that we've been doing is sort of preparing for that. And what's been cool is, Joseph and the team kind of knew just how to do that, which is really cool.
And so, Joseph, how did you do that? Tell me about how you put safety and made it a part of this application.
Well, I mean, we didn't want to break the experience of the novelty of what you get out of ChatGPT. And what we saw was this clear division. The data that our customers have should never leave their instance. That was a rule that we set from day one. But we wanted ChatGPT to be beneficial in a wide range of contexts. And the only way to do that is by being able to communicate with it in a way that is not providing private access to data, but is giving enough context to say, hey, you have knowledge of how Travada works as a system, and within the constraints of that knowledge, give me what I need to look up the information to solve this user's query. And that was really where we approached this problem from, was that balance of taking advantage of ChatGPT's natural abilities, which is it can take any sentence that you throw at it, any paragraph, you could literally write a whole novel and throw it at it, and it'll be able to take that, condense it, and infer, what do you mean? What are you actually trying to get at here? And then come up with a solution. So where we got involved with ChatGPT was effectively giving it knowledge of how our database is structured. Not the data within it, but how it's structured, which gave it a superpower. It now knew, Travada has access to transactions, or has access to balance information, or Travada knows how to forecast, or it knows how to do analytical things. And because we taught it that, it would be able to combine that knowledge with the query, the question that the user asked, and say, all right, now that I know that I can look it up, how would I look it up? So the last step of all of that was finding a way for it to translate that back to us, right? And we, again, didn't want to share any private information across that. So
there's going to be all kinds of information you don't want on there. You don't want your competitors to know your payroll, your cost of goods sold, and none of it, basically. It's all kind of your personal info.
So we translated it all into tokens so that it never really knew the language of what it is that you're communicating back and forth. It just knew that there's this random string that you're looking up in a database that is structured in this way. And the final little piece of the puzzle was, well, we don't want to ever give it the ability to look anything up in Travada. So how could we do that? How could we make it such that it only gives us instructions? And that's where the math came in, right? Because we didn't want it to do math. Because we had seen
it's not good at math, it's not math you want it doing. Right? Those two reasons are good enough.
So we realized that it's actually amazing at programming.
Okay.
It's excellent at producing code. And one of the languages that would be useful within the context of our database would be a query language, a SQL query language. So that was the breakthrough. All right, we have context, we have knowledge of the internet, all of the topics under the sun, and now it has the ability to give us instructions in a meaningful way in SQL. So we put it all together, and we created this dynamic interface where you can type anything you want in our chat interface. It sends that in tokenized form up with the context that you need, up to ChatGPT. It figures out, oh, this is what you mean. I know how to look that up in Travada, and then tells Travada how to look it up. We then look it up on the behalf of the customer and then display it within their Travada interface. That data never leaves Travada. It's never given to ChatGPT. And that whole interaction is only kind of one direction. It's, hey, ChatGPT, just tell me how to look it up. They never see anything else from there.
We get accuracy to our customers, which is the huge concern. Again, you can't be wrong. Right. If you're wrong, somebody might get fired. Right? Or somebody's going to rely.
If you're lucky, someone gets fired. If you can ring fence it to a guy you can fire, that's not a bad mistake in the world of finance on a huge scale.
Yeah, and the other thing is just reliance, because eventually that information is going to get relied on, at the very top level, and therefore you can't be wrong. So that's always a kind of a core tenet. The other one is just having this secure translation layer, or this kind of translation fabric that we have. So it's inherently secure for folks to use. And I think we're already starting to go through that through the InfoSec process. And we've kind of built in security from the very beginning, because we're working with some of the largest companies, we're working with some of the biggest banks. And so we had to do that. So once again, we're sort of already preparing for that. But now to be able to say this is inherently secure, so that way you don't have to worry, or you have to do a certain thing a certain way just because you don't want to trip those concerns. The playing field is already set in a secure way for you to do that.
There's also a scalability angle to it. We didn't want to be constrained only to ChatGPT. And that's the reason for this exchange. If tomorrow Bard releases as the best, experience that you could imagine, and a big part of it might be multilingual, right? Because there are clear limitations with regards to the current implementation of ChatGPT. Let's say that I'm in Asia and I want to use this in my local language. Well, good luck. You're not going to be able to do that. That kind of limitation is not something that we're used to with regards to our customers, because we work internationally. Our customers are based all over the world. And so we needed a way to be able to scale our AI infrastructure with any generative AI capability, whether it's from Amazon, whether it's OpenAI, whether it's Google, it doesn't matter. We could be able to take advantage of those solutions, Microsoft being another one, and plug them in as appropriate by region, and still have the exact same security model. So that's
the developers of AI are all operating within basically the same scale. They've got kind of the same standards, and that in turn means that Travada is not reliant on ChatGPT or anyone else. You can be agnostic to whatever that platform is, and because they all work essentially the same. The idea is you speak to it naturally.
And we're keeping a close eye on this, because at the end of the day, there may be models that emerge that are much better at certain contexts, right? We happen to be using ChatGPT. It's impressive as it stands, but let's say that a year from now, there is a company that creates the world's best finance-based LLM, right? Then suddenly we can plug that in and have another breakthrough for our customers, still built on the foundations of our own AI technology. So that's why that scalability really matters to us.
And we saw that happen in search. I mean, Google wasn't the first in search. You look at Alta Vista, Yahoo, and then Google sort of steamrolled that, those companies. But so who knows where this is going to go? Clearly, OpenAI has a big lead, but even I think it was this week, Elon is announcing his new play, right? Of course.
XAI.
And at the end of the day, your customers win and you as customers win. There's a certain inception level. You're a company within a company operating within an industry, all of which is changing at the same time. Travada's ability to create this has been enhanced by AI. In turn, your ability to help companies and your customers leverage this, which is the huge part, which is so exciting and scalable, that happens either way. That's just AI itself. It's not ChatGPT dependent, because all these major trillion-dollar companies are investing so much money in developing this platform. Tells you two things. A, if you're a little guy, you don't want to stand in front of it. And B, you're going to have choices. It's going to be kind of a buyer's market for this out there, because they're going to give it to you for free because Elon wants to be there just for his personal reasons. Whatever.
Yeah, we have no idea where this is going to go. And that's said in a respectful and humble way, right? As of right now, we're conceiving all of this in the form of text. We haven't even considered it in the form of actual speaking, right? Or in the form of video, right? Imagine these types of technologies available while you're on a Zoom call, and it's just literally looking up all this information and providing it to you in real time as you're having a natural conversation, maybe in a board meeting, and you don't have to ask anything, right? So this is possible, and it's just a matter of leveraging technologies together to bring it to life. And that's why we want this posture of flexibility, because we're discovering this as we go with everyone else. And the cool thing about our journey, though, is that it's applied science, right? Customers are actually using this today, giving us feedback today on how it's being used. And that's the most exciting part about it. It's being able to see real behavior change on, the shoulders of this technology.
And that's, we referred to you guys as kind of an early stage case study, because so far ChatGPT itself is the case study. They're $1 billion whatever dollar company. But you're an actual company that's helping other companies apply this right now here today. And you're saying the benefits, the feedback you're getting from your customers is positive, and you built it in a way that it's going to provide flexible structural growth opportunities without taking on a lot of risk. Is that the gist?
Yeah, we're already iterating. I mean, the other thing is we released we came out with a release and released it to some of our core customers early on. It's now generally available in the product for all customers, and that was about a month ago. And now we're already iterating where we're putting it into our forecasting capabilities. So now you can be able to add that and kind of propel that forward. We're just warming up. I mean, this is just scratching the surface. But I think just in all the years of just being in startups, for me, there's always been these moments, and venture capital will go nuts and pour all this money into maybe some of the suspected winners or potential winners. And like a good example would be Internet of Things. When the IoT thing came out, it was almost like this great solution and then they were finding a problem. Like, well, do we even really need this? Maybe in 30 years. Or you look at also like all the, the stuff that's going on with the metaverse and all of that. And so there's these stops and starts around stuff. Like, is this really beneficial?
Our goggles are incrementally better. If only VR wasn't just kind of a horrible experience in general. Yeah. But it's AI, in contrast to that, is something that's going to be driven by the demand for it. Right now, there's so much money going into this space. Your company better be on board. Right. You better be doing it smart. You guys are in the business of kind of translating and helping other companies stay on top of this and weaponize their balance sheet, in effect.
I think that the bringing up the metaverse and all of that is an interesting analogy, because Apple just recently announced Vision Pro, right? And it's, in classic Apple fashion, they took an existing idea and just polished it to the nth degree and presented it. But again, what did they do? They focused on experience. They focused on the details that would give you, that anti-nausea effect that you probably are referring to when using VR, right? Making sure that the screen resolution is so high that you literally feel like you're looking at real life, right? Focusing on details about how you interact with this VR experience so that it's not overwhelming and you can tune it in and out. I look at that and I think about how Travada approaches a lot of the design thinking challenges that we embark on for our customers, because at the end of the day, our customers have to love it. Right? We're not just creating technology just so that we can make a press release and say, oh, we were the first to AI. We're backing it up because at the end of the day, if our customers aren't using it and they're not getting any benefit out of it, what is the point, right? And the focus on experience, making sure that, for example, the math is accurate. It seems like such an obvious point, and it's, I almost feel dumb bringing it up over and over, but you get the math wrong one time, and that's it.
Feed through everything.
They will never look at that experience ever again. And so we had to really focus on how can we do it? How can we do it in a way where it takes advantage of all of this technology? There will be other challenges, I'm sure, but that kind of maniacal focus on these types of details, whether it's privacy, whether it's, accuracy of information, whether it's experiential, finding the best ways to visualize all of this. It's where our focus is, and it's why we think that we can continue to push the boundaries here, and it's because we have a vision for how this might actually play out.
Brett Turner, last question to you. In 5 years, are we still talking about AI, or is it so integrated into the way we do business that it's just kind of disappears into...
Yeah, it's so integrated. I mean, you look at the early days of the internet, a lot of that stuff, and then even how is the internet being applied, and... Yeah, there's
the days of .com companies. Now it's just Amazon.
Yeah, and now and you look at that first wave, and then the second wave that sort of optimized all of that. And the first wave had a lot of these it was all about speculation, and filing an S1 after you file your incorporation documents with Delaware. It's like, really? But all of that sort of subsided. Once you kind of got to the second wave, you had big companies, profitable companies, really great businesses leveraging that. That was at the fabric of what they did. I think we're going to see that really. Everything is kind of moving faster too. So I think even how that gets applied, it won't even necessarily take 10 years to get there, where you kind of started in the 95, 96, started getting some momentum. You saw a big crash. You saw everything sort of get, reset in 2004, 2005, and kind of take off from there. I think, now that we're kind of having this a bit of a contraction or pause and on the economy now, this is, again, probably one of these catalysts that's going to, we're already seeing it kind of pulling us out of that. I think that momentum will continue. I think the adoption of this is going to be, pretty fast. But yeah, we're seeing that things come out, whether that's the writers and actors strike or, Sarah Silverman for, suing OpenAI,
right.
And then Meta for like copyright infringement. I mean, all this stuff is going to work itself out. It's going to get resolved, and then you're going to see kind of a broader adoption and doing it in the all the folks who don't have the right intentions, or maybe they're just trying to capitalize on the moment without having anything real and substantial. That it always works out.
And what makes the moment organic is the breadth of the experience, that it truly has changed society. We're talking about it from actors to plot devices in movies to corporations every day to the investing world, which is basically you're not raising money without AI, at least as part of something that you're thinking in terms of the business situation right now.
Yeah, exactly.
It's exciting stuff. Hey, change is scary, but not changing is fatal. These guys are J.A.R.V.I.S. They'll help you organize it and keep your world in order.